Today we are making a love delivery, and by that, I mean a homemade meal. I've had 2 kids, and let me say by experience, there was nothing that was more appreciated or I loved more than someone bringing me a homemade dinner or a lunch or a snack. So today we're gonna be doing just that. My friend has just had a beautiful baby boy, so we're going to make her a dinner and dessert. So let's go and plan the recipes. Now, before deciding what recipe you're going to make, I always like to message the person I'm gonna give it to and make sure, are you gluten-free, dairy-free? Is there a meat that you love? Do you even eat meat? So I did message her and she said she loves red meat and she doesn't really like chicken and pork. So we're gonna go with a red meat-based meatball recipe and an apple crumble. When I was pregnant, someone gave me like a berry crumble and I honestly started crying because I was so tired, I was so overwhelmed, and I felt so loved. So I want her to feel like that too. Don't look at my handwriting. But we're done, let's go shopping. I hate sharing a car. Kurt drove the boys to swimming lessons in my car and so we need to make a quick pit stop before we go to the grocery store because I left my wallet at my coffee shop this morning. Luckily someone DM'd me who follows my channel and she was like, hey, I have your wallet. So we're gonna just quick little pit stop. So I'm going to buy like a throwaway container, one of those alfoil things. I want it to be easy for her. Like, don't wash it up, don't give it back to me, chuck it in the oven, throw it out, you know? Not eco-friendly, but like new mum friendly. Are you a person that if you're walking up to your car and you see a civilian like me looking for a park, will you be like, oh, like I always do that. But no one's done that to me right now, hence why we're still driving around in circles. Ready for the best reverse park you've ever seen? Because it's happening right now. Look at that, beep, beep, beep. Oh, I don't know if we're gonna meet here. Do you reckon that's close enough? Surely. No, I'm like far. This is too tight. Should we bail?
Just
Tuck the butt. What does that mean?
tuck your butt in.
Tuck my butt? Oh, I'm not. We got this. We got this. Yes. Yes. Okay, check that. Like I said, the best reverse park you've ever seen. Let's go. Hi, I left my wallet here this morning. Thank you so much. Let's go shopping. Step 1, we're gonna go and get our takeaway containers because that'll determine the serving size we're gonna do. So let's just try the grocery shop, I guess. I feel like that's everything from here. Okay, we're at my favorite place, the health food store. We're gonna pick a really beautiful pasta because opening up a box of expensive pasta that maybe you wouldn't buy yourself is a gift in itself. Whole grain spelt spaghetti, that fits the vibe we're going for. Can I just get 500 grams of the grass-fed gourmet beef mince? So if you're gonna get diet beef mince or more of a lean cut, you are going to have to add olive oil to it because you wanna make sure the meatballs are juicy and moist. So if you're gonna go for a high-fat mince, that's fine. But if you're gonna go for a diet, then add some olive oil. Thank you. Tell her I said hey and I'll come back.
Thursdays is a day off.
Okay, good to know. Yep. I'm not allowed to film on Thursdays now. Okay. I honestly never film myself grocery shopping and like buying the things for my cooking segments. Every day I go to that butcher and I'm served by the same lady and she like loves the boys and she's so nice to me. And I'm always like, one day I'll get you on camera, one day I'll come in with the camera. The one day she has off was today, and if you're watching this, I love you and you'll be in my next cooking video, I promise. Let's make it extra fancy. When I go to an expensive restaurant or like an expensive Italian restaurant, I love when I'm served the tri-colored ones. So let's do one of these and one of these. Yes, thank you. The less bags, the better. All right, let's go. All right, we're gonna start with our apple crumble because it takes around half an hour in the oven. I'm just gonna set it to 180 degrees on a fan-forced oven. Like I said, I've made this so many times, but I'm just gonna tweak it today because I feel like it's getting better and better. Usually for the apple crumble, just use a ceramic dish like this that you would use for a lasagna. But because I'm not asking for it back, she can keep it. We're gonna be using one of these foil containers. What I love is I both mix it in this and I also cook it in this. So today I'm using pink lady apples, but this recipe also works really great with green apples. I really need to get a new peel off, far out. So I'm gonna do my apple around sizes like this and then throw that straight into whatever tray you're cooking it in. Like I said, we hate washing up, so let's minimize it. So I'm going to add 1.5 tablespoons to sprinkle it over, but I do use my hands after and make sure it's all massaged in. In terms of the spices, you can kind of go as heavy-handed as you want. I roughly do 1/2 teaspoon to a teaspoon, then nutmeg, roughly 1/4 teaspoon. I'm just gonna add the teeniest bit of ground cloves. Before we add any wet ingredients, I'm just gonna massage that through with my hands. My hands are my favorite utensils. 1 tablespoon of maple syrup, roughly a tablespoon of lemon juice. And then again, with my hands, I'm just gonna mix that around. Unfortunately now we do have to incorporate a bowl, but I swear this is the only washing up you need in this recipe, that's it. This is where you can get a little bit more creative. I will always add something unique to my topping, so we'll just see what comes to me today. But the other day I put sultanas in my crust, like my crumble. It was so good. 1/3 cup of blanched almond meal. Almond meal will work fine as well, but blanched almond meal, it has more of a vanilla cake aroma to it. Around a tablespoon of coconut sugar. If you want to do brown sugar, that's totally fine, but I've got coconut sugar on hand. I like salty sweet. Let's mix this up and then we can add some wild cards. This is my hidden stash. Are you ready? Don't tell Fox. Fox is my 4-year-old. He'll wake up at 7 a.m. and try to find this. So this is the fun baking box and it's got like choc chips, sultanas. Every 4-year-old loves sultanas. Now don't put it in your crumble because sultanas on the top are going to burn and they taste like black little charred nuggets. Not cute. But if you put it in the wet mixture, they kind of absorb all of the flavor and the apple juice and sprinkle that through. Just kind of zhuzh it in with my hands a little bit. So I do want to add an element of extra crunch to the crumble. I've only got a little handful of walnuts left. Any excuse to use my mortar and pestle? Oh my gosh. It's my favorite part of cooking. If I can use this, I get it out. I think a good dessert is all about a balance of saltiness, sweetness, but also texture. So you want to make sure you have some soft gooiness, but also some crunch. Sprinkle of cinnamon. I'm gonna do 3 tablespoons of melted coconut oil. 1, 2, 3. 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. Pro tip, make sure you measure your coconut oil first because then in the same spoon, because then the maple syrup just slides out of the spoon. Flatten it out roughly, and then we're going to bake this in the oven for 25 to 30 minutes. It's time for our meatballs. That is 500 grams of beef mince. You can add a brown onion if you want. I just really like the color of red onion. Around 1/3 of a cup. Because these are going in the meatballs, we want to dice them really, really fine. Add that into our mince. No. I'm more and more liking like a heavy garlic kick, but because it's not for me, I'm going to add 2 cloves. I feel like that's a safe option. Introducing, again, my favorite kitchen appliance. Where is she? Here she is. I need shares in whoever makes these because I talk about it all the time. Shove her in there. Just like a handful of basil, I guess around 1/2 cup-ish. And you can do this as rustic or fine as you want. Delish. I'm going to add fresh oregano, so just a few of the leaves. If you're using dried, you're gonna add 1 tablespoon of dried oregano to the mix. Red meat and tomato can often be kind of heavy feeling, especially with pasta. So I think bringing in fresh herbs just brings a lightness to the dish. I hate wasting lemons, like throwing that out, no. 1 tablespoon, 1 to 2 tablespoons. A generous crack of salt. Some cracked black pepper. The white pepper to me gives it a bit of a kick. 1/3 of a cup of breadcrumbs. I'm using gluten-free breadcrumbs. Gluten-free breadcrumbs here. We're gonna crack an egg straight in. If you wanna whisk this elsewhere, you can, but again, I hate washing up, so why would we do that? Crack it straight in there. Our final ingredient is Parmesan cheese. Now, this entire recipe is dairy-free if you don't use the Parmesan cheese, or you can use a dairy-free Parmesan cheese. Any excuse to add a little bit of Parmesan. So I have this little dish here that I put my rings in. Put my rings in there. Now, I just like to get in there. Okay, I'm just gonna check on our apple crumble. Let's just check one of the apples. If you can hear any kind of crunch, I'm like, I want it to be a little bit more steamed. I'm just gonna add some foil to the top, just so it has a chance to kind of steam up and get nice and moist. We'll let that cook with a lid on for like 7 to 10 minutes. I use an ice cream scooper. This is kind of the perfect size, I think. I feel like the butcher gave me more than 500 grams because this feels like a kilo. Maybe I'm making dinner for me as well. This is when I think you need to consciously try to enjoy the process of cooking and that meditative space and just that repetitive movement of rolling balls or like kneading dough. This is time to just be, you know? Meatballs are done. Let's cook them. I am adding some olive oil to a heated stainless steel pan. That's how you get it not to stick. I'm going to cook it in a way that can be reheated. Can you hear that sizzle with my mic? So I'm just going to brown the outside because when she cooks this in her own time at home, it's gonna continue cooking. So we're just gonna kind of start that cooking process. So all she has to do is throw this in the oven and then cook the spaghetti. Now just flip them around and ensure they're golden brown all the way around the meatball. It's done. Oh, wow. This is how I'm gonna give it to them, and then I'll just have a note saying, pop it in the oven until warm, or pop it in the oven on 180 until crispy. Okay, we've got 1.5 cups of our cherry tomatoes that I'm just washing. And we're gonna throw that straight in with the meatballs. Give that a toss. I'm just gonna let that cook for like 5 minutes. Now, this is where it differentiates. If you are making this for dinner, you're going to add everything I'm about to add to this pan to the fry pan, because you're gonna cook it all together, it's gonna get hot, beautiful, great, we can eat it. But because I'm gonna transfer it to her house, I'm going to add the sauce into here, and then I'll transfer all of the meatballs to this pan. You are going to add your favorite can of crushed tomatoes, a tablespoon of tomato paste. This does have onion powder in it, so ideally a little bit of onion powder, a little bit of garlic powder, a little crack of salt, black pepper, and now 1/2 cup of water. This is just gonna help it become more saucy. This is perfect, have a look at this. So just as one starts to blister and pop open, as you can see the skin is starting to peel off, take it off the heat. Yum, yum, yum. Gently fold each meatball into the sauce. Then some leaves of fresh basil. We'll do a tiny bit because it won't look cute. Like it's gonna kind of obviously melt, but just for the taste. Oh my goodness, yum, yum, yum. Let's chop a little bit like that. And we'll say, add me on top, like grate me on top. That's so nice. Let's put it all together and see what it looks like when we're delivering it to our friend. I would love to open the door to this. We could even make it extra special and also give her a little bit of vanilla ice cream. This to me is the ultimate I love you gesture. Whether they've just had a baby, they've got out of hospital, or they just need to feel loved in any capacity, I feel like this is the way to do it. So I'm gonna package this up, take it to my friend's house, and hopefully it just makes her night that little bit easier. Now just flip them around and ensure they're golden brown all the way around the meatball. 8, we'll do 10 more. And then we get the rest. Yes, yes. So we can just skip that part and I'll add the What?
Just like stopped mid-sentence.
Oh, sorry.
The,
Oh, I was like irrelevant.
I was like,